Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to have another little chat with you, another little bit of an open discussion, and I thought I'd do it in front of my bag wall because it just felt more appropriate here. But basically, as you can see by the title, I bought the hottest, or one of the hottest bags of 2022 and questioned whether or not I was over it before I even saw it. I'll explain. This is something I haven't really reflected or pondered on much at all. It just is like a thought that sprung to me while I was getting ready. And I wanted to pose this question to you in today's video because I think it would also help me, because I don't even know the answer to this myself yet. Like I said, I've only probably pondered on it for like less than an hour. But how do you differentiate between buying something and liking something or wanting something because of hype or because you genuinely want it? And I know that there's an argument about, look at me just jumping in. I know there's like an argument that if you buy things, you know, if you're solely missing a place in your wardrobe, or if you buy more for practicality and if you buy more classic timeless pieces, you're never gonna really fall into that hype. And I do see that argument being quite valid. However, I think if you are someone who just genuinely loves beautiful things as well, or if you collect things, if you have sentimental ties to things, and if you buy things for reasons other than practicality or to fill a space in your wardrobe, this can be kind of hard, right? Like, because I know I'm not there. I'm not completely someone who buys solely neutrals, like solely pieces just for practicality to fill a space in my wardrobe. Because the bag I'm about to show you, you're gonna be like, honey, what space could that possibly have filled? But we'll get into that. This isn't going to be like an unboxing style video. This isn't going to be anything like that. I'm going to like briefly kind of share my thoughts on the Fendi 25th anniversary collection, and more specifically the Fendi X Tiffany & Co collaboration. You know how I feel about a lot of collaborations in general. However, this particular collaboration does feel a little bit more thought out and a little bit less of a cash grab, if you will. I think this collaboration does have a place in fashion, especially being the 25th anniversary of Fendi, but also you know, I'm just not one for a heavy logo. Like, it actually looks like there was thought put into it. Like, there's some collaborations that I just don't, most collaborations I'm not really into, but I love that they just didn't stick Fendi, Tiffany & Co on it and just called it a day. You know, like there's like subtle, I love how creative they actually got with the Fendi logo, and they just put like a ever so subtle slight little T intertwined in the F's, and if you know, you know. And I really love things like that. I also really like the collection that was released with Sarah Jessica Parker. Those bags, the ombre sequined effect, to me looks absolutely flawless. I'm gonna go back to hype and whether or not it's hype or it's not, and again, this is personal, because I think if you are a Fendi lover, you're gonna love this collection, you're gonna love this collaboration. If you love Fendi, if you love Tiffany & Co, if you are a collector of these things, if you just love a baguette, this might something that interests you. But it is quite hard to, for me anyway, differentiate between hype and genuinely loving it. This isn't a collection that I'm going to go after just because it didn't really speak to me. But to be honest, there's not a lot of pieces and there's not a lot of things that I see, especially lately in fashion. It probably happens like 1 out of 10 times I'll be like, oh, I need it, I want it, I see it and I love it straight away. But for the most part, like especially with bags, it takes me a really long time to decide whether or not I even like something enough. And if you're like that, this is one of those kind of collections that you may not even get a chance to get or see. I think if you haven't already put your name down, you probably already missed the boat. These pieces, I'm pretty sure from memory what I saw, aren't gonna be coming out till early 2023. If you haven't like got a really good relationship with an SA at Fendi, I personally don't. And if you don't have an SA, if you haven't already put your name down, you might have already missed the boat. I've also seen like resellers, Instagram resellers already promoting and already advertising, you know, put your name down with me, put your name down with us, and they'll obviously be able to source the bag through their ties at Fendi and then obviously charge their fee on top of that price. So if you're super after and really wanting a piece of this collection, but you don't really have an in at Fendi and you don't think that your SA will be able to hook you up like that, I mean, again, maybe I'm being negative, let me know in the comments down below, but if I even wanted this collection, I don't have an essay at Fendi. I highly doubt that me just kind of calling up the store and being like, hey, I don't really have a profile with you guys, but I'd love to be considered for a Fendi X Tiffany and collab bag. I just don't really see that really working. I think this video may be a little bit shorter than all my other ones, looking at where I'm at time-wise, but it also is probably more for the people out there who are having trouble at the moment differentiating between actually knowing that they want something and a hype, because I know I've found myself in moments like that in the past, and still to this day I probably have trouble with it. I think it's really hard, especially if you are quite active on social media and you see a lot, you know, if you follow a lot of people and you hear about the exclusivity of releases and the hype surrounding it, and it's just that exclusivity, the events that showcase these pieces, and then the countless TikToks, Instagram reels, articles, videos about these collections and these releases, that can definitely, I know for me, make me second guess, and like the hype kind of can take control a little bit and take over. Rewind back to the start of the year, okay? Rewind to late 2021, early 2022. What was the bag on everybody's lips? What was one of the hottest bags? A few may come to mind, but in terms of the Fendi space, what was the hottest bag on everyone's lips? What was the bag on everyone's lips? It was this one, wasn't it? This was one of them. I mean, you might have thought of a completely different bag, but when I think of early 2022, the reboot of Sex and the City and Just Like That, this re-release was the hottest thing, the bag on everyone's lips. So just a little bit of context, I actually prepaid for this. I paid for this back in late February. It is now mid-September and I'm just seeing it for the first time. So it took, what's that? February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. 7 months for me to see this bag. I put my name down 7 months ago, paid for it in full, by the way, not even a deposit. And this bag came straight from Paris. I got the text message maybe like last week saying that it was finally ready to be shipped out to me from Paris. And this sounds really bad, but I actually questioned whether or not I even wanted it anymore, because for a good few months there, I had completely forgotten about it. In the sense of, when I say completely forgotten about it, I mean like it had crossed my mind every few months, because I was like, huh, I did pay all that money for that bag. I wonder when it's coming. It was more like that, as opposed to me every month or every week being like, oh, I can't wait to see it. Oh, I can't wait to have it in my hands. Oh, I can't wait for it to be in my arms. And I think that goes back to what we've spoken about before and what I may touch on in other videos coming up. But the thrill of designer shopping is definitely not as strong within me as it used to be. Like, I still love a designer piece from time to time, but it's not as much in the forefront of my brain. So yeah, when she messaged me, I was like, oh my god, do I even want it anymore? I already paid for it. I mean, I know I could have been like, oh, can I maybe have a refund for that? But I just thought, you know what, I've already paid for it. I paid for it 7 months ago. Let's just get it here and let's see how I feel. And even I was talking to my boyfriend about it, and I was like, look, if I really decide that when it arrives, I don't want it anymore, I don't like it, I don't need it. I mean, does anyone really need a sparkly sequin bag? Not really. This is not necessarily like a space filler in a wardrobe, but I did say to him, I was like, look, if worse comes to worse and I decide that I don't want it anymore, I could probably quite easily sell it on. Obviously not really making a profit, but I'd still be able to get rid of it in a sense, because this was a limited re-release. As you may know, this was a bag that was released, first it was released like I think it was the 1999-2000 collection. It's probably most known for its scene in Sex and the City, and that's why I think this bag is just, for me, a piece of like fashion history in terms of culture and pop culture, because Sex and the City is one of my favorite shows. It's one of my guilty pleasures. And you know, if you know that scene, like, honestly, who in their right mind, maybe you're someone like this, I know I'm not. If I'm ever held up at gunpoint, I will not be arguing with my mugger. I'm not going to be telling him, it's not a bag, it's a baguette. You're a collector, if you're a bit of a fan like that, those things may speak to you. And that's what it did for me, it spoke to me. So they re-released this bag, I think it was like December, January, flew off the shelves. I missed the first drop from what I'm aware. And then I DM'd an Instagram personal shopper, told them I was interested. They said that they're expecting a re-drop, like a very small limited quantity by July. Obviously it took a lot longer than July. It was September by the time I saw it. But this is basically the point that I wanted to mention, and basically the point of this video is this is how fast fashion moves. It's still, in my mind, a beautiful bag, but if I was to ask you right now, what is the top Fendi bag on everyone's lips? What is the Fendi bag that everyone's talking about? It would be the new collection that's dropping early 2023. The Tiffany & Co. collab. You know, Fendi's doing a collab with Marc Jacobs, is it? And you know, just their 25th anniversary collection. I don't think many people would think of this one straight away, which is why I think it's really important not... And again, I'm still trying to differentiate between this. Like, how do you know if you're buying for hype and if you're not? And that's why I think it's so important not to get too swept up in hype and buying. And that's why I realized, like, you're never really going, I mean, maybe you could if you really try hard enough. Actually, no, it's true. You can do anything you put your mind to. If you really want to stay on the forefront, the cutting edge of fashion, the top, ahead of fashion and ahead of all the new releases, I think you really have to A, put a lot of your money towards that, B, probably live in a bigger city than I do, and C, probably get in with a lot of essays, a lot of these people in this industry who work in the boutiques, because I don't think you have much of a chance unless you put so much of your time and money and really building those relationships with these people in these stores, because it is so hard to keep up with the newest, hottest thing. It really is, and I don't know how people do it. It seems incredibly exhausting to me. This took 7 months to arrive, and now we're on to the next. So my point is, if you are thinking about this collaboration, if you're like, oh, I kind of think I might want to, you know, you're putting your name down for something that in 4, 5, 6 months, you might have already decided that you're over it, or you might already decide that you've forgotten about it, or you don't even want it anymore. It's hard to not get swept up in the exclusivity. And if you're at the front and the cusp of fashion, you're like, oh my God, well, I have to make my mind up now if I want it or not, because if I don't make my mind up now, I have very little chance of getting it, if at all, or I may get it, but I may not get it for 4, 5, 6, 7 months. So I think, I don't know. I feel like there's a point that I'm trying to make, but I don't really know where we're going. I just want to have a conversation with you guys about this and what you think of hype versus a general like for things. And I think this is probably why a lot of people tend to steer more towards classic pieces, because that hype can really get you. It's the nature of the beast, isn't it? It moves so fast. I think basically the moral of this story for me, and just the point I want to put across to you, is like, you may think that you may want something, and again, you may very well want it and it may work out for you, which is a lot of times what happens, but there are cases where you may think you want something, you have to wait so long for it, and then by then, that want of that thing that you thought you wanted has been replaced with something else. If you did put your name down for this collection, this Tiffany and Fendi collection, and you do happen to unfortunately miss out, I promise you that something else will take its place, okay? Something else will take its place in most cases, because there's always something else coming out. There's always something to be released. And I think this collection is very special if you do have a strong, if you really love Fendi as a brand, if you really love Tiffany & Co. as a brand, this is going to be a match made in heaven for you. You know, if you get it and if you don't, it's not the end of the world, and something else will come along, because something else always comes along. Like, before I found someone who would actually source it for me, I was like, oh my God, what if I can't get it? What if I don't get it? Oh, I'm gonna be really sad. Would I have been? Because again, not the same bag, but fast forward to now, and Sarah Jessica Parker has actually released, like, and is releasing bags with Fendi that obviously don't look like this, but have beautiful sequin ombre, like, oh my God, just beautiful, beautiful craftsmanship. So basically, yeah, don't be too hung up if something, you think you missed something, or you think you miss a boat or a train, because that's what FOMO is all about. That's what the hype is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you feel like, oh my God, I really need this thing because there's nothing that's ever going to come along just like it. When in actual fact, that's not true, because this is a re-release of a bag that was made 20 years ago. They may re-release it again another God knows how long. So yeah, and if they don't, then something else may come along in the meantime, aka the sequin version with the Sarah Jessica Parker stamp of approval. I look forward to hearing from you, and I will see you in my next one. Bye. Now, I wanted to throw this bag somewhere into, you know, I'm still shopping, I'm still buying. Obviously, I paid for this back in February, but I do think a lot of people, and I wanted to address this just really briefly, I don't want to really do like hauls and unboxing so much anymore. Like maybe from time to time, yeah, but it's not really where I'm at the moment. Like there's not as much thrill for me anymore, and I'd rather do these kind of discussion videos and just more general videos. I did receive a few comments on my video that I'll have a linked that you know, that what my idea of luxury is now. I'll have that linked up above. And I did have a few comments of people being like, oh my God, like I'm so happy that you're back on this train of like minimalism and moving away from material things. And like, I think maybe if that's what you got from that video, I think you maybe misunderstood, and I never want to give you that like impression, the wrong impression. I'm definitely not as like, oh my God, no, like my idea of luxury has changed. I still buy nice things, still buy pieces, but I'm just not as like about them anymore. Does that make sense? I hope so. So yeah, there will be changes to my channel, but I don't ever want anyone to subscribe or resubscribe, as people said, thinking that I'm never gonna shop again, or I'm never gonna buy pieces again, or I'm never going to buy another designer handbag. I'm just not as like, it's just not all consuming for me anymore.